everyone. Look, we must have words.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you.
Now this problem has been plaguing my mind for quite some time, ever since episode 46 of Digimon Adventure 2020. And you know which episode 46 is, don't you? HolyAngemon, or Magna Angemon. HolyAngemon, just to be frank, has been a fantastic addition to the reboot. The debut, the expanded lore with Digimon, its contribution to the team. I think everyone for the most part is pretty happy with HolyAngemon in this reboot. However, every single comment I get about HolyAngemon is to do with one thing and one thing only, and that is the Gate of Destiny, or Heaven's Gate attack. It's because it was a pretty significant factor in both the 0-1 continuity followed by 0-2. And you know, there's a good reason for this. There's a good reason to wonder why this specific exclusive attack, which was arguably the highlight of HolyAngemon in that canon, why is it not here? Why are they not using it? In today's video, we're going to discuss why Digimon Adventure 2020 did not use Gate of Destiny, but at the same time, talk about what if they did. What things would have changed? How would the reboot be very different? Because it is in the nature of this attack, and how powerful it really is could alter potentially the entire story as we know it. But I'm going to give you a few reasons why they didn't include Gate of Destiny, and if they did, what would have happened. Enjoy the video. So let's talk logistics. Why did the reboot not use Gate of Destiny for HolyAngemon? Arguably one of the biggest reasons as to why HolyAngemon is loved so much, at least originally. This special attack, which debuted alongside HolyAngemon in the original 0-1 continuity, made waves, and for good reason. It essentially acts as the Great Eraser, which essentially gives HolyAngemon the benefit of opening a portal to a different world, sucking in any enemy. Now it's not as simple as just, it's the Great Eraser, it's an instant delete button. It's not exactly like that. You know, in 0-1 against Piedmon, it wasn't super easy to get Piedmon into the Gate of Destiny in order to remove him. It took kind of knocking him in that general direction first before the Gate of Destiny could suck him up and then close the door on him. So it isn't really an instant deletion button. It's more of, if there wasn't an opportunity to win, it creates one. But it's you yourself, or HolyAngemon, or the Chosen, have to then coax that problem into the Gate of Destiny. I think it's fair to say that that move was overpowered. I don't think it particularly made a mess of the story at any point, because Piedmon had kind of already ran its course, and it was going to be defeated one way or another. So the Gate of Destiny didn't take anything away from the Chosen ones winning in that episode. But then you fast forward to something like 0-2, when 0-2 Digidestined find a way to evolve to HolyAngemon against Blackwall Greymon. Blackwall Greymon proving to be an enormous problem for all of Digidestined, as this huge, physical, powerful obstacle to overcome. We get HolyAngemon, HolyAngemon uses the Gate of Destiny, and it starts to suck Blackwall Greymon in. Blackwall Greymon narrowly avoids the Gate of Destiny through plot-driven means, but it kind of makes you feel like if Blackwall Greymon hadn't destroyed the very thing which allowed Angemon to evolve to HolyAngemon, then he might have just been sucked into the Gate of Destiny and gone forever. Such a huge physical obstacle in that story. So it seemed a lot more balanced in 0-1 than it did in 0-2. That's how it looked. So that's the general gist of the Gate of Destiny. Now, even if it was canonized into 2020, it doesn't mean to say it would have the same effects every time. But let's assume that Gate of Destiny was the same. We need to ask ourselves, what would it have done for the reboot? Now, the differences between the reboot and 0-1, as you probably already know this, the other Chosen didn't get Mega Evolutions. Now they do. I think, in a way, Seraphimon being introduced as Takeru and Patamon's Mega Evolution is in fact a substitute for using Gate of Destiny. And maybe vice versa. Maybe Gate of Destiny was introduced to add more emphasis to HolyAngemon without making HolyAngemon go Mega at some point in the show. It's probably much easier, right? To give HolyAngemon a powerful exclusive move which puts him on a par with other Mega level Digimon, despite not being one. But in the reboot we have Seraphimon, so really what would be the need for Gate of Destiny when they could just Mega Evolve to confront the problem that is overpowering them? But that's what Gate of Destiny was. It was supposed to be a means where HolyAngemon could close the gap on these powerful physical villains and at least attempt at solving the problem. So for one reason why I didn't introduce Gate of Destiny is because we have Seraphimon now. They didn't have Seraphimon then. There was no Mega Evolution for them. Now there is. And obviously you could still argue, you know, it would have still been nice to see Gate of Destiny despite the fact we have Seraphimon, but it just would have been introduced for like no reason. It had a real function 0-1 and 0-2, but in the reboot, because of Seraphimon, the Gate of Destiny doesn't really have much more on Seraphimon in terms of what Seraphimon can do. And maybe some of you would have preferred Gate of Destiny over Seraphimon at some point. But really, and I mean really, really.
Really?
Really?
If that was the case, I don't think people would have begged for a good iteration of Seraphimon to appear in some Digimon canon at some point as a Mega Evolution, if people didn't want it badly enough. I think if you could go back in time with 0-1 and you could give these characters Mega Evolutions, I think you would have done so. Because the Mega Evolutions sell, it's the things that everyone wants to see. So if we're talking money, it made sense for them to do Seraphimon instead of Gate of Destiny. Again, you could have done both, but there has to be a real story-driven reason to having used Gate of Destiny in the first place. In episode 46, we'd seen HolyAngemon use Excalibur on Sephirothmon to break out. You know, it breaks out of that pocket dimension. You know, that has a role in being this exclusive attack. What would have Gate of Destiny done there and then? So let's consider what if. What if HolyAngemon did have Gate of Destiny before achieving Seraphimon? So this would include instances with Sephirothmon, Mugendramon primarily. It wouldn't be needed in the Millenniumon fight because after all we got HolyDramon and Goddramon. So what would the Gate of Destiny really do in that situation for Millenniumon when the Holy Dragons did the job, you know? So let's consider both options. So it's worth noting that both with the Sephirothmon fight and the Mugendramon fight, both of those things were very integral to the build up to Millenniumon, but the Millenniumon thing was just another stepping stone in the Great Catastrophe in the very final stages of the reboot. So really, I'm not particularly sure how, say for example, even if they used the Gate of Destiny on Sephirothmon, and Sephirothmon was sucked inside, the other bodies of Sephirothmon couldn't then recover that data and take it back to Millenniumon, would it have made a massive difference to remove that one body from the world? We can't really say for sure that it would. Surely there's enough data between all of the bodies of Sephirothmon to create Millenniumon? I'm assuming it's all shared anyway, so I don't think that would have made much of a difference. So then what would really be the point in including it, other than just for the moment and the aesthetics? Whereas again, in 0-2 and 0-1, it had a more plot-driven function, and because we had no Megas, it made more sense to include that for that reason. Much like how Seraphimon has a plot-driven function in the reboot. Then let's consider Mugendramon. Now the battle with Mugendramon, all the ultimates chipped in, they all got blown back, but HolyAngemon, and Angemon, to be fair, were the ones who stepped above the mark from the rest. Angemon blocking attacks, giving buffs to other Digimon which survived huge attacks. Then you have HolyAngemon, which essentially just kind of guarded Commandomon for the majority of that fight. But there was a scene where HolyAngemon charges Mugendramon and actually breaks off a piece of its body with Excalibur, which is insane, because even amongst Mega Evolved Digimon, such as Metal Garurumon and War Greymon, they initially couldn't give Mugendramon any sustainable damage. HolyAngemon's power in the reboot is clearly then no joke, because that Mugendramon actually acted as a blueprint for Millenniumon itself. So can you imagine if that was just Excalibur? What would have Gate of Destiny done? I mean really, assuming it would even fit through the portal. But still, let's say HolyAngemon used Gate of Destiny. They removed Mugendramon with a team effort, pushing it through the portal. I mean, they couldn't move Mugendramon anyways, but we'd seen in 0-2 the portal does actually suck things into it. So let's say Mugendramon was sucked in. Would it have made a difference? I mean, they would have solved the problem much quicker, but I kind of feel like they would have eventually come to a head at Millenniumon anyways, because they already had Mugendramon's data for Millenniumon. They only removed Taiji out of the picture for a brief moment, just to get an emotional episode in episode 49. But then I suppose the battle with Mugendramon, Taiji, and More Greymon is what gave Taiji and More Greymon an excuse to be out of the picture when Millenniumon trapped the other Chosen in this pocket dimension. So maybe, if Taiji was around in episode 49, could they have stopped Millenniumon from being revived? If HolyAngemon used Gate of Destiny on Mugendramon, and Taiji was still around at the time, Millenniumon sucked them onto a pocket dimension. So would that have just been the end of the world there and then? Because the only reason they broke out was because War Greymon made Millenniumon lose control of the pocket dimension. So in the first instance with Sephirothmon, the Gate of Destiny probably wouldn't have made much difference, it probably wasn't needed. In the Mugendramon case, it kind of creates many different scenarios where it could be either series ending or it wouldn't matter. So it's hard to say. At what point in the reboot could you have actually used Gate of Destiny and had it been either useful or not create any wider problems? In this case, it quite literally changes Destiny. It's a very interesting topic, and look, I completely understand why it didn't include Gate of Destiny in this reboot. Not that there's anything bad about the Gate of Destiny, it's a cool attack, but it's just the things that it does in the reboot's case, where HolyAngemon is concerned, makes too much of a difference to the plot. It makes too much of a difference to these big moments that you just wouldn't have otherwise had if HolyAngemon could use Gate of Destiny. So this has been your HolyAngemon Gate of Destiny video, and I'm sorry if it wasn't the answer you really wanted, but you have to be honest with yourself. That move is too OP. Not in the sense that it just instant deletes enemies, in the sense that it changes the course of the canon itself. But what do you guys think of Gate of Destiny not being included in the reboot? Let me know in the comments. I know people are just going to say, I wish the reboot was different, so that we could have had Gate of Destiny and a different story, etc, etc. But in terms of what Toei gave us with the reboot, I just don't think Gate of Destiny would have made much sense in this case. And it's kind of nice having the reboot and 01 being alternate timelines of each other, where in this timeline, HolyAngemon doesn't evolve to Seraphimon, but it has Gate of Destiny to compensate for that. Then the reboot, because Seraphimon is possible, the Gate of Destiny wasn't needed. That's kind of how I view it. But let me know what you think. Thank you for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video today. Hit the notification bell. Please like, comment, and subscribe. This has been your frequent dose of Digimon content. I hope you enjoyed it, but most importantly, take care.